Hey, Khumo family, it's your boy Ryan Gibson here with another Mini Masters pre-taped, pre-recorded, so enjoy it. I hope you guys get great information out of this and continue to get great information from all the videos here at Khumo Studios. Today, our big topic of the day is locations, locations, locations. So this is an overview of scouting locations, securing locations, and shooting locations. So let's begin with the big one. And why is it the big one? Because you got a script. It's calling you to be in China, but you don't live in China. What are you going to do? Not shoot the script? Change the location so that it's not China, even though China makes the most sense to the story? No, you make it China. Here's how you do that. Real simple. You find a place that gives you a vibe, a feel, an energy, a look, even if it's a hint, a corner of China, and you shoot the hell out of it. You shoot the corner, this angle, that angle, whatever you got to do. Or the cheat, if you can't get your location the way you want, you simply go and you purchase the stock footage of an exterior location in China. And then you let us know in the exterior, China, and then you go inside of a building somewhere where you are, and you're still in China. But you're going to have to do some set design to ensure that it feels like the world in which you want us to feel like we're inhabiting. So make sure that when you're looking for the places that you are looking for to double as other places, if your budget doesn't allow you to go to China or to India or to France or to Europe and Russia, wherever it is that your story takes place, and you don't have the budget to go there, I promise you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, there are places in and around your area that you can use, that can double for it. You just have to let your imagination go. Scouting your location requires effort. Usually on most big budget or films, they have a location scout. That person's only job, one and only job, is to go through the script and break down all the locations. Then simply go out into the world and find them. And then bring pictures back, multiple locations, and go, here, this could be it, this could be it, or this could be it. You, the average filmmaker who is breaking into the industry, new to it, trying to get in, sort of in, don't have a big budget, may not have a budget to get yourself a professional location scout. So what do? The internet becomes your friend. You put in what you're looking for. You ask people you know. And then, of course, the one that most people hate, you get up and you go do it yourself. You go drive around the city, you walk around the city, you go everywhere you have to go until you find the place that you can double as something else. I once turned the backyard of my apartment many years ago into an alley. And it was not even close to an alley. But the way we shot it, it looked like an alley because we shot it really narrow and we kept everything in frame here. So that we kept it only to one side of it. So we got the fence on one side and never showed the other side. So as the person came walking down, we put some cans, trash cans nearby. It felt like he had turned the corner into an alley. I promise you, don't let the location thing scare you. When someone's writing a project, this is to all my writers out there, do not be afraid of putting it everywhere and anywhere. Don't be concerned about whether or not you can find it. It exists. You can find it. And if you can't find it in your world, you can cheat it. As I said, get the stock footage. It's not super expensive to find stock footage. Some of it's really cheap. Some of it's free if you do the right searches. I wish I had some of the names of these places right now. Do you know any? What is it? Paxel. Spell it. P-E-X. P-E-X-E-L-S.com. I knew there was one. So check that place out because they have some great free footage stock footage that you guys can get your hands on. And then you just have to make sure that when we get inside, because if you tell me that where exterior is France and we see the Eiffel Tower, and then the next shot is of a room, guess where your audience will believe they are? In France. And they will look at you like, wow, did you guys go to France? I did, when we've done projects in the past, I've had those moments where people go, where did you guys go? You guys went to China? You guys went to India? We're like, no. We just went to places that gave us that energy and that vibe that we needed, or we cheated. And we got our hands on some stock footage, and it said India, and then we went inside of a building. And you believed it because we told you we were in India, and then we went into a building right down the street from you. So don't get stymied by the idea of the location. They exist and you can get your hands on them. Scout them out yourself. If you have the money, get a location scout. There are people who actually get paid to do it. But if not, find it. You can find it. It exists. The next part of this, securing the location. So you've done your work, you've scouted, you went out into the world, and you found all the locations that you think that you might need. Then it becomes the next issue is securing them. Immediately people start looking into their pockets about the financing. Here's where, again, for those of you that don't have budgets big enough to support the financing, utilize your connections, utilize your friendships, utilize your relationships. And if you don't have friends, get some. There are people out there, filmmakers, who support each other by allowing them to use spaces that they've used, spaces that they have, spaces they have access to, in exchange for goods and services. Meaning you might be a great DP, director of photography, and they want you to come on board and support their project. Do what you have to do to make sure that you get the space that you have to get. Don't let it be a no. Don't let no be the answer that completely shuts down your project because you weren't able to secure one location. And if you can't get that perfect location, get the next one. Get the less than perfect location. Because we, the audience, will never know that it wasn't the perfect location. We'll only know what you show us, and as long as it looks like the place you need it to look like, the rest of it doesn't matter. So figure out what you can, save where you're able, make smart choices, utilize your connections, and then you'll find yourself starting to fill out the space of the locations you need for your project. Next, shooting. Once you get there, before we even get into shooting, I want to go back to the scouting. Make sure that when you're scouting, think about your shooting. Think about how big the room is. So if you're going to be shooting a scene that you know is a fight scene, and you're going to be fighting from that corner to that corner, that corner to that corner, and that corner to that corner, and that corner to that corner. So you're going to go 360 around the room. Is it big enough to house not just the fight, but your crew? Or were you planning to go in there handheld? These are things that you got to talk about again when you're setting up your production meetings, as I talked about in previous videos, so that you're getting clarity on what it is you need for each shoot of the day, each scene of the day, each shoot of the day, each page of the day. So be super clear that when you're scouting the location, that you also consider crew. Also consider, where is the crew setting up? Where are they going to be? When we're inside, if it's an inside location, where do they set up? Where do they park? Where do they live? if we're going to be there all day, where are we setting up lunch? Where are we setting up breakfast, if that's included? Whatever it is, you want all these conversations to have already happened. So when you go to the location and you're scouting does not just mean the location. It means the surrounding area as well. Also recognize that you need to know where the nearest hospital is in case of an emergency. You need to know where the nearest police station is or law enforcement office, depending on where you are, in case of emergency. If you have to secure a rental agreement or what do you call it, location release, because perhaps there'll be regular people walking around outside, you want to make sure that those forms have already been pre-printed, and you should always make sure you visit your location at least 2 or 3 times. Don't just pick it and go, that's the place. Even if it's perfect, go back, look at it during daytime, see what it feels like, looks like, especially if you're going to be shooting it in both day and night. Look at it at nighttime, see what the neighborhood feels like. Because sometimes there are places where during the day it feels great. It's light, it's airy, it's beautiful, it works for what you need. Then night comes and all of a sudden the place feels a little dangerous, a little sketchy. And you got to think in terms of protecting your people if you're shooting at night, to ensure that you're protecting them for the potential of something harmful happening. And then you may have to also include security. These are all things that must be concerned when you start thinking about your location. So beyond just finding it, you have to be thinking in terms of, how do I make sure everyone around me, my whole team, is protected, safe, they know where their stuff is. Where are we going to have our sound equipment stashed? Where is the cameras going to live when they're not being utilized? Who's watching it? All of these things must be decided. Don't just go into it blind and just go, great house. And then you get there and you find out that right next door, they sell drugs out of there, and you didn't know it because you didn't take the time to source, to walk it, to look at it, to be there. Look around and ask tough questions. Be the person in the room who's willing to ask the uncomfortable question. As you're standing there looking and you see a woman staring at you from across the street, immediately go, is she going to be a problem? Is she going to be the woman who's going to be coming out every 5 minutes and going, how long are you guys going to be? What are you guys doing? And if that's who she is, maybe you preempt that by giving her a fruit basket. Maybe you preempt that by having someone go over and let her know exactly what's happening and how long you'll be there, and apologize for any inconvenience beforehand. These are things you want to think about when you're looking at your locations. So when it's time to start shooting, along the lines of what I just said with regards to the inconvenience to neighbors, what is your sound situation? Are you in a busy neighborhood? Is this going to be at night? Is there going to be even busier during rush hour? Is there going to be a problem if you're doing a scene where someone has to scream like they're being murdered? Are you going to freak out the neighbors? Let them know. Tell them what the scene is. Don't be all, oh, we don't want to ruin. Tell them, hey, we're shooting a horror movie. You might hear some screaming. We'll keep you guys updated. It'll be done at this time, so that there's no confusion. And then if you do run into a neighbor or a person in the space of where you're getting your location who just doesn't want you there and is really adamant about you not being there, start looking for a second location to be safe. Because what you don't want to end up in is to have everybody show up on the day and have someone there causing you problems. Because I promise you, a neighbor who doesn't want you there will find a way to screw up your production. Be it them standing there yelling, they'll run their lawnmower, they'll raise their television, they'll play their music. This is how I live my life. And you're like, never do they live their life that loud. But because they just don't want you there for whatever reason, you just want to be prepared for that eventuality. So that should deal with your scouting of the location, your securing of the location, and your shooting of the location. So make sure that you take all of these little tips in with you as you begin your process of getting your location. Because we all know without a location, well, you have nothing because you're shooting in empty space, unless space is your location. So do we have anything else, guys? Is there anything about locations that you guys wanted to know for my little audience in the room? Anything? 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 Excellent. All right. Well, everyone, I thank you guys as always for your time. Thank you for joining us here at our Khumo Studios Mini Masters. We appreciate you. And as always, please remember to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend to join us on our next Khumo Studios Mini Masters. Until then, I'll see you next time. I'm Ryan Gibson.